Hey y'all, Jonathan McGarry here, and this is Off the Page, Genesis chapter 14. And this is what God caused to jump off the page to me today as I read this chapter several times. Chapter 14 tells us of a war that broke out in the regions of Canaan where Abram was living. In the process of the fighting, Abram's nephew Lot and his family were taken captive. We also read of the first introduction of Melchizedek, king of Salem and priest of God. And we'll read more about him in later chapters. But what jumped off the page to me surrounded the details of Lot and his family being taken captive and Abram's pursuit and victory in defeating the offending armies. In verse 14, we read that Abram heard that his brother Lot had been taken captive. Now, when I first read that, I thought Lot was his nephew, not his brother. And if you had the same thought, you would be correct. But what is being conveyed is the closeness and fondness that Abram had for Lot. Even after the conflict with Lot and his servants, and even after the parting of ways, Abram had a love in his heart for Lot. Abram could have been justified in being a little bitter towards Lot. After all, Lot owed Abram so much after Abram took Lot with him on his journey in following God. And it was due in large part, if not entirely to Abram, that Lot had become wealthy. Yet when offered the choice by direction to go by Abram, Lot selfishly chose first and the best lands for his own. Despite all this, Abram never became distant or cold toward Lot. When Lot was in trouble, it was Abram who risked his own life and that of his people to rescue Lot. In a world where people seem to be offended over everything and fight over every perception of being slighted or taken advantage of, we ought to remember that God loves no matter what someone else has done, and therefore we can and are to love others and be willing to sacrifice of our own rights out of a heart of love for other people. After all, consider all that Jesus Christ has given up for us, despite it being our own doing that caused his sacrifice to be needed and required, and despite that we often fail to yield our all to him. So did you see what I saw? Did God show you something new or something different? Seek God by reading his word. After all, the whole purpose of reading his word is to seek God, to know God, and to have a relationship with God. Let God speak to you today. Until next time, remember I love you. More importantly, remember God loves you. And keep your eyes on him.